Hi guys, in this video we are going to be making this very colorful and beautiful blazer. Let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, so this is what we are going to be making in this video. So without wasting much time, let's go straight to our cutting board and start creating this beautiful creation. These are the things we are going to be needing to make our blazer. Of course, we need our tape, need a French curve, you need an awl. I don't know what to call this, but a kind of pointed object that you will be using to make a mark on your pattern. You could also use a normal pin. It can also serve the same purpose. You need a cutter. You could use this, or you could decide to use your scissors, but cutters are sharper, gives you a more perfect cut. You need, of course, a tracing wheel to be able to trace your pattern on another pattern paper. You need your rulers, straight rulers, and your curved rulers. And of course, you need a marker. And you need the back and front pieces of your basic body block. If you've not created your basic body block, I have a link right below this video that you can look at and create your basic body block, because you need a basic body block to be able to create this pattern for your blazer. Next, place your front basic block like so. Make sure that this pattern paper that you have under it is about 20 cm longer than this. It's about 20 cm longer than this, because you're going to be adding a few centimeters at the bottom, and you're going to need some centimeters also at this edge when we are drawing our collar. That is why I said make your pattern paper 20 cm longer than the full length of your basic body block. And then you're just going to trace the whole thing round, and then trace only the side dart. Leave the center dart. Trace the side dart, trace the waist line, trace the bust and the chest line. Chest line, bust line. That's all we are going to be using to be able to create our blazer pattern. I've done my tracing, and this is what it looks like. This is exactly what I want you to do with your basic pattern. Trace it on another pattern paper. This is exactly what it looks like, and this is what we are going to be working with. Next, we are going to be creating the French curve for the blazer. Remember, that is why we did not trace our darts, because we are going to be creating a French curve. And what you need to do is to find the center point between your waist. My waist is 26. My center point will be 13. I'll mark it. And then in between that, you know, my dart is I normally take 1 inch for my dart. That is about 2.5 cm. So I'm going to spread the 2.5 cm in between the two. That should be around 1.2, 1.2. So, yeah, and here. So that's going to be the width of my dart. And then you come to your bust line. Remember, this is our bust line, and this here is our chest line. So from this bust line, make sure you follow from the center of that. From that bust line, I am going to measure 10 cm or 11 cm upwards, and I'll mark it. That's my 11 cm. Please, I hope you've seen what I'm doing. 11 cm from your bust line, and then this is your waistline. I've taken my dart point and I've given it 2.5 centimeters. So the next thing I'm going to do, from this bust point, this same bust point, I'm going to mark 4 cm and 7 cm. From this same bust line, I'll come down 4 cm and 7 cm. Four cm and 7 cm. Hope you're seeing it. 4 cm, 7 cm. What I'm going to do, I'm going to join all those dots from here to here on a straight line, first of all. Okay, I've done the straight line, and then the width of my dart, I'm going to draw it up to the 7 cm point that I did here. So I will just do that, so like so. And then I'm going to do my bust. So we'll create our dart point. And then we also create a dart point from here to meet the point we made at the upper part of the blouse of it. So that's it. Now we are going to draw our princess curve. So you need, so to get our princess curve accurately, you're going to measure your armpit depth length. You measure it. Mine is 28, and then find halfway between it. My halfway between the two is 14, which I have marked here. So what you're going to do, you're going to need your French curve, and then you're going to place it like so. Starting from this tip, line it there, and try and make sure that the curve ends at the midpoint of your armpit depth, just like the way I placed it. And we're going to trace. Just adjust it to be like so, exactly the way I've done it. So you get a very good princess curve. So it moves from this point, joins the second line, and then goes to stop at the midpoint of your armhole length. So let me do that quickly. So that's the head of our princess curve. That's the head of the princess curve. So the next thing, we are going to extend the dart to 2/3. First, you measure this length, find 2/3 of the length, and then we are going to extend the dart to end at 2/3 of the length. I'll be extending my blazer. I don't want it to be exactly at the highest point of my hips. So it depends on you. If you want it to be at the highest point of your hips, you can leave it like that. But I want mine to be a little bit lower, covering the highest point of my hips. So I'm going to extend it by 4 cm. I'll extend it by 4 cm. I have extended the length of my blazer, as you can see, and I've joined it, and I've also extended my darts to meet the length, that is the bottom line of the blazer. The next thing we are going to be doing, we are going to now form the lapel of this blazer. That is what makes it a blazer. First, we are going to be marking 2.5 cm at our chest point and 2.5 cm at the waist point. And then we are going to join it down to the hip point. Those 2 points have been joined together. This is what your pattern should be looking like at this time. So what we are going to do next, come up to the neck section, and we are going to take 2.5 cm. Mark 2.5 cm. And then from the waist section, you're going to go down 8 cm. From this waist, we'll go down 8 cm. So we're going to join, let me draw the line for 2.5 cm. So we're going to be joining from here, draw a straight line up to here. From here up to here. You see, the pattern is gradually taking shape. Now we're going to be creating the collar that sits at the back of the blazer. Remember why I told you to have a longer pattern paper? So you see, we're going to need space here to be able to create the collar for the blazer. And of course, you're going to need the back part of your basic bodies. First thing, you need to measure from here to here. Measure from here to here. Forget the zip panel, please. You're measuring from here to here, because we're not going to have any zip at the back. So I'm going to measure mine. And mine is 9 centimeters. So what we're going to do now, that 9 centimeters, we are going to measure 9 centimeters from here. Hope you're seeing what I'm doing. I'll measure that 9 centimeters directly from here. And mark it. Simple correction, please. Your 9 centimeters is from this line that goes down there. 9 centimeters is from here. So I'm going to mark my 9 centimeters, like so. And then to get the neck width, you know the neck, you normally fold it at the back of your neck. So to get that neck width, it's normally 4.5 centimeters standard. So we're going to measure our 4.5 centimeters from here. We mark it. And then we give it 1 centimeter extra. Let's make it 5.5 centimeters. Give an extra 1 cm. Mark it there. So what we will do now, from that 4.5 cm point, we'll draw a line to meet the curve of the neck front. It's gonna be like so. Let me draw this one here. And then from the 5.5 length, remember we made it 4.5 here, an extra 1 centimeter. So from this 1 centimeter that we have, I'm going to draw a curve. Like so. To also meet this line here. This is just so that your neck can sit comfortably at the back. You know, make it sit comfortably at your back. So this is what it's going to look like. I hope you're following me, and I hope your pattern is turning out exactly the way my own is turning out. Now we're done with that. Let's do the lapel. From the neck area, you're going to come in 2.5 cm. And from your chest line, you're going to come in 5 cm. And we're going to draw a curved line from there and meet up with this point here. I just showed you. I just showed you what the lapel looked like. And you see that it is folded. The lapel is folded on top of this. The reason we have this line is so that you know how much of it will be folded and where it is going to cover and stop. So what we are going to create now is exactly this opposite here, to actually see the fold and where we are going to be putting our stay when you're actually cutting the dress. And to do that, first of all, look at this neck here. Remember the second section of the neck? Let me change it. So we are going to measure that 9 again. Remember that because of the curve, it will be a little bit longer than the 9 at the back of our neck. So just use your tape and measure that my 9 cm and mark the exact point where it stops. And from there, I'm going to draw 9 cm. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold from this line. Remember our line from here? This particular line. I'm going to fold my pattern paper inwards. I folded my paper as I said, and I'm going to use this. Remember this? You could also use a pin if you want. So I'm going to make a mark there on the paper. I'll find it there. And I'm going to mark here at my bust point. Please notice where I've done the 2 marks. Here and here. And I'll turn the paper out. And then I'll look for those points that I just made on my paper. And I'm going to mark it. This is the first point here. I have to look for the second point. So that's my second point. That is my first point. So I'm going to draw from here with a curved ruler and curve it so it will meet up right here. So that's exactly what it's going to look like. But if you look at it, you see it is sharp. And our blazer, the lapel was not so sharp. It didn't give us a sharp point like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure about 17 cm upwards. It depends on you. But I want to measure about 17 cm upwards. I'll just mark 17 cm on both sides. I'll mark 17 cm, and I'll mark 17 cm on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a subtle curve to the edge there. Starting from that 17 cm, I'll just do a subtle curve at the edge so that it will not be exactly straight as such. Our lapel, when folded, it will be curved at the edge. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then remember also that the lapel at the bottom is not square. So I will also put my French curve at the edge, and I'm going to curve it a little. So that is what our blazer is looking like. This is exactly what it's going to look like. It looks a little complicated, but don't worry, when you watch the video several times, you get the hang of it. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut it out and place it so that you understand better what it looks like. So I've cut it out. This is what it looks like. I'm going to show you now when you're cutting. This will be the facing when you fold it. See the way it lies exactly at that line. And this is our neck that is going to go to the back of the blazer. So that's what it's going to be like. So this is your facing. Your facing is going to be this way, where you're going to use another material when you're doing the facing. But I'm sewing it, of course, I will show you how to do that, so that the facing will be a contrast to the main suit material. So that's essentially what it looks like. Very cute. So we are done with the front of the blazer. Now we are going to be creating the back part of our blazer. And this is not very difficult. It's not as complicated as the front part. You just need your back parts of your blazer. You trace everything out as it is, including the dots, all the lines. You trace it on another pattern paper. Then you leave out this zip panel. We don't need zip panel for the back of the blazer. So you're going to be tracing from the major line here. And please don't trace the curve. Just trace it straight, because we're going to do another curve for the blazer. Trace the whole of this, the dots, the lines, waistline, the bust line, the upper chest line, and of course the arm. That's what we're going to do, and that is what I've already done, and this is what it looks like. So essentially the only thing we need to do here, first let's create our dots for the blazer. And what you have to do is to measure from here to here, and we take the center point. I have 26, so I'm going to take 13. And I'm going to mark it. And then I'm going to use my curved ruler and curve from this point to meet up the dot. The back part is not as difficult as the front part. It's quite simple. So that's all you need to do for the back dart. So now we're going to shape our back. You know our back is not straight. So what we'll do essentially, we're going to take 1 centimeter at the waist point inwards. Just mark 1 centimeter at the waist point inwards. Then we'll take a curve ruler and curve it. But before we curve it, from this neck drop, we are going to measure between the neck drop and the upper bust line at the back. And then we get the center midpoint, and then we mark it. So from my neck drop to my upper bust point is 23, and that should give me 11.5. So I'll mark 11.5 at the center, right here. And that is where we are going to draw this from here, and then curve it just gently to meet it here. If you have this kind of ruler, it's better to use it rather than just drawing it straight. You just curve it gently. So essentially, that is what I'm going to do, something like that. So I'll just curve it gently. So that's what it looks like, and then do the same thing right here. Super. So essentially, that is all you need to do for the back part. There's not much to it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to cut the back part, and then I'll show you how to cut the front part. I'll do my cutting and then round up this video. So when you're cutting your back, remember, just cut it down and put in that curve right there, and then curve it like that, and then cut off the dart like so, and then cut this off, cut this off, cut this off. So you're going to have your two pieces for the back of the blazer. For the front of the blazer, you're going to cut the darts. You cut from this line. Hope you're seeing what I'm doing. You cut from this line like so, and then you join it like so, and then curve it. So that's how you're going to cut that. And then when you're done, you now cut off this and cut off this. That's just how to cut the front. Essentially, let me do that, and then we'll have our pieces. This here, you need to trace, I need to trace this on another paper. This particular section, I have to trace it on another paper. That will be the facing of the contrast material we are going to use. Remember, this folds back like so. So this facing is going to be the contrast material. So I have to trace it onto another paper, so that I know that that is what I'm going to be cutting with my contrast material that I'm going to be using to make this blazer. So as you can see, I've traced out the facing that I'm going to be using for the front part of the lapel. That's the facing. I've traced it out. And then at the back, please remember to add the 4 cm. Remember, we added 4 cm to elongate our blazer, because I said I didn't want it to be at exactly the widest point of my hip. I wanted it to come down a little. So remember that 4 cm and add it to your back part. I'm done with the cutting of our blazer pattern. Hooray! So this is what you're going to have. You're going to have 2 pieces for the back. That is the center back piece, the side back piece, these 2 pieces. Then you're going to have the side front piece and the center front piece. And of course, the facing for the lapel of the center front. This facing is going to be just like so, which is going to be a contrast material. That's what it's going to look like. That's the facing for the center front lapel. So with this, I've come to the end of the pattern for our blazer. So stay tuned in my next video, and we're going to do the sewing for the female blazer. Thank you for watching. Till next time.